Welcome to the Woman Angler and Adventurer podcast, inspiring real women with a passion for fishing and the outdoors to go get their adventure on. Now, here's your host, Angie Scott and Barb Carey.
Oh yeah, we do tuna and we do ground fish. We also do striped bass. Like ground fish is great. You know, tuna can be a great gamble. It could be an epic trip, or I've been out there plenty more days than not catching anything. You don't see anything come by. But the haddock trips, 6 people are always reeling up. Have a rod all day, constant action, and then even on a bad day, you get to bring home like a bunch of fillets for the group. So people really enjoy those trips, and those trips go from April through June. And so we do that, and then we switch over to the tuna fishing in June, and that's kind of what we focus on until mid-July, and then we'll start filming.
So if someone wants to go out with you, how do they get a hold of you?
So I have my own website, fvhardmerch.com, and then my dad has his own. That you can find the Falcon's rates or the hard merch, fvhardmerchandise.com, and then my email is just joe@fvhardmerch.com,
and he's pretty active on social media too.
Yep,
Okay.
exactly, and that's the best way to reach me, and my email for sure. I constantly check that on my phone. But
so explain now, paint a picture for our audience, because what they don't see is the big picture when the cameras are on. So when you guys are here fishing and they're filming. What does that look like in this boat? Where are the how many of those guys are there? And
honestly, there's only
one guy.
One person or woman. We've had a lot. Yeah. We've had women in the past too. They're all individual contractors, so they might be on dirty jobs, cocktails with Chloe. They're trying to figure out which. It's not always wicked tuna for them. And we've had different people in the past. Every year we have the same people, just because it all worked out for their schedule wise. But they're all professionals, so. For the new people who hop on our boat, it takes a couple trips to get used to, but they're helping around, they're taking out the trash, they're cleaning, they're cooking, it's all like a team effort, and that's why, some guys have the same people over and over, and that's nice because you don't have to teach them a new routine, but I like meeting new people because you hear a different background where they're from, a lot of them are from the West Coast, that area, but people, I've heard all around the world, these guys get interested in this, and that's pretty cool.
I would imagine that some of them don't have sea legs and they don't like coming back. It's like, hey, this being on this boat thing isn't for me.
And we've had that before, but for the most part, these guys are all professionals, and they have, a lot of them have some experience, whether it's the Outer Banks or we've had people from the Deadliest Catch show and they wanted to try this out, so they know what they're signing up for, and they
usually if they don't like being on the boat, they won't take the show because you have to be out on the boat constantly.
And then for the land guys that we come in and offload a fish, it's kind of been the same people for the whole 9 seasons, so that's great. Getting to know those guys, and you hear new people every year, but for the most part, it's the same crew. And everyone wants the same goal to. 1 year after the next, and that's kind of what we've taken on. Nothing's guaranteed for us, it's all based on ratings, so we just take it 1 year at a time.
That's awesome. Yeah. So 9 years you've been doing this. How long were you guys when you started?
How old was I?
Yeah.
I was probably, my sophomore year in high school when it kind of all started, and I was filling in because I was playing football, and I had to think about college, where I was going to go and stuff like that, so it wasn't really until I, my junior year in college where I was full-time on the boat, but that's kind of where it all started for the filming-wise. Now, I was a little kid, and Jill and I caught our first fish together when we were 8 years old, and we were I was always, and Jill too, was trying to get out with my dad whenever we could, but it was different. It was difficult because he's a commercial fisherman, so he had to go out for 4 or 5 days, and tuna fishing
back then he didn't really have the luxury of time that he does now. He gets to be a little spoiled and take a day off, yesterday when it was really rough out. Back then he couldn't afford it,
Exactly.
So it's not really an environment for kids.
Yeah.
Or commercially.
Yeah.
So it's hard.
So when you go out with the camera crew filming, are you out till you get a fish? Is that 3 or 4 days at a time?
It can be.
Yeah.
It depends on the season and what the weather's like, where the fish are biting. But like this year, because 2 years ago we went to the George's Bank, right? And that's 16 hours stream north, right? That's where we had to go, so we had to stay out there until we caught a fish. But this summer, the fish have been really close to home, so it's an hour drive back home. So it's my dad's I'd take that hour. I want to go home and sleep in my own bed. You know?
Right.
So it really depends.
Interesting.
But yeah. Yeah. I don't want to interrupt you too much, but it's
No,
cool that you stopped by.
Not at all. And like, you know, we catch fish before and after filming. It's only like a short amount of time where they're there. So everyone kind of tries to get out as much as we can. But like, yeah, she mentioned like the fish are close and shore. It's nice, but some years we got to go 180 miles. You know, it's far seam.
Okay, so we're a bunch of Midwestern gals, Southern gals, coming over here to the East Coast to striper fish. Can you give us any tips?
Striper fishing, yeah, I mean...
Yeah, Joe is the expert on striper fishing.
That's kind of where I started, you know, in a small Novi skiff, you know, doing shore charters. But so are you guys looking to do some surf casting when you're in here?
Surf casting.
Yeah, I mean, they have the back shore along the lighthouse. You can walk out, and people have had some luck. That's over in the back shore of Glouster, so the Eastern Port lighthouse.
They're going to the Cape. They're going to the canal.
Oh, you guys are going to the canal. Okay, awesome. I'm definitely for down there. I know, like, you know, poppers, plugs are always good. Like, they love the plastics down there. You know, eels, imitate those stuff. You know, definitely you want to... There's a couple spots, but, you know, for the most part, towards, like, each mouth, I think is a good spot. But I've tried the canal, you know, a bunch of times, and it's really, you know, this time of the year can be really good for those big fish. So you guys are going to have some fun for sure. It's an excitement, you know, it can be, like, you know, the good spots can be, you know, one side of the canal or the other, and there's a whole, you know, I don't know how long it goes, but there's a whole, you know, plethora of area to try. So definitely get there early in the morning. I know the old timers, you know, I always see them kind of there for that tide, you know, whichever it may be. You know, I just know that I see people on their bikes, so, you know, they're traveling, but definitely early morning thing, I believe, down there.
Okay, one more question. Now, I read that your mother holds a record in some striper fishing thing for this thing.
Striper, I don't know, maybe it's cod. I know she's caught like a big, you know, 40-something pound cod. I don't know about stripers, but I know she's caught some big stripers in her life too, over some 50-pounders for sure. So,
wow,
definitely.
Does she still fish?
Oh yeah, and she fishes all the time when we can get her out. Like, we took her bluefin fishing a couple times and stuff like that. But I'll show you guys a picture since you guys mentioned striper fishing of me this year. You know, it's actually been one of the better striper fishing years we've had up on the coast of Gloucester, because we've had this, you know, giant schools of pogies come in.
Which is a bait fish around here that I've never even heard of or seen for the past few years.
Yeah, it's kind of
here this year.
Yeah, the bunkers, or like menhaden they call that. But
are there a lot of them down by the Cape too?
They can be. They typically are more south, like, you know, Jersey and the Cape. Like, the Cape, like, sees them all the time. But yeah. So this is, I just went commercial fishing, like, you know, with one of my buddies.
Holy smokes.
And that's, you know, that's a couple.
We're gonna show that to the.
Oh, definitely. You know.
Actually, we'll just get it texted from you, and then we'll embed it in there like magic, right, Angie?
Yep.
Angie knows how to do that stuff.
Those are some of the bigger ones, you know,
those
like
are
close
huge.
to.
It makes me really excited for our fishing trip.
Oh yeah, and this is, you know, that's a little bit, you know, outside of Gloucester, but, you know, the Cape has, you know, great stuff. I've heard a great spot to just check out. Maybe, I don't know if you can definitely fish near it, but Races Point, like, you know, you can see all the whales.
That's cool.
Yeah, you can see whales right off the shore sometimes. You know, they're not there all the time, but, you know, that's a cool little spot to check out. I know that's really good for bass fishing down there too.
Really good for sharks this year too.
That's what I've heard. You know, the seals are coming back, and, you know, the seals coming near the beaches. It's just going to attract those, but it's only a matter of time before we see those guys, you know, off the coast of Gloucester. You know, they're not that far away, and I'm sure, you know, we know through research that they've pinged, you know, great whites off the coast of Gloucester and stuff like that, so it's only a matter of time, you know.
Well, I tell you, next time I come to town to visit my daughter, we're going to come out and go out in a boat.
All right, awesome, yeah.
So thank you so much for your
problem.
time.
And like, if you guys are interested in the striped bass, we have half-day charters for that, and then, like, as well as, you know, haddock and tuna.